If power were obvious, we would not argue so much about who really holds it. Most of us grow up with a simple idea. We are told that power lies with governments, that leaders are elected, laws are passed, and society moves forward through democracy. On paper, this sounds clean and fair, but when you look closely at how decisions are actually made, a more complex picture appears. Wars begin without public support. Economic crises happen again and again, yet the same institutions survive. Media narratives shift overnight, and suddenly millions of people believe the same thing at the same time. This raises a basic question. If power truly belongs to the people, why do ordinary citizens so often feel powerless? To understand how power really works, we first need to ask who has it, what they want, and why their influence is not always visible. Power today is not just about force or authority. It is about shaping choices before you even realize a choice exists. Governments do not only rule through laws and police. Media does not only report facts. Corporations do not only sell products. Together, they form a system where influence flows, quietly shaping behavior, opinions, and priorities. This system did not appear overnight. It evolved over decades through technology, economics, and psychology. The real story of power begins not with elections or headlines, but with incentives. Every institution responds to incentives. Politicians want to stay in power. Media organizations want attention and revenue. Corporations want profit and growth. When these incentives align, power becomes concentrated. When they clash, narratives are adjusted until balance is restored. This is why many decisions feel disconnected from public interest. They are not designed around what is right or wrong, but around what is stable for those at the top. Power works best when it is not questioned, and it is questioned least when it feels normal. To see how governments fit into this system, we need to move beyond the idea that governments act as a single unified body. In reality, governments are collections of individuals, parties, bureaucracies, and alliances. While elections give citizens a voice, that voice is limited by choices already filtered for them. Political campaigns require massive funding, which often comes from corporate donors, lobby groups, or wealthy individuals. This funding does not always buy laws directly, but it buys access to meetings, to influence, to the framing of policy debates. When a law is proposed, it is rarely written from scratch by elected officials alone. Think tanks, industry experts, and lobbyists often draft the language. These groups represent interests that are not evenly distributed across society. This is why some issues receive constant attention, while others are ignored. Governments also rely on stability. Economic growth, investor confidence, and international alliances matter deeply. If a decision threatens markets or powerful partners, it becomes politically risky. So even well-intentioned leaders operate within invisible boundaries. They can promise change, but only within limits that do not disrupt the system too much. This does not mean every government action is malicious. It means power is constrained by structure. Over time, these constraints shape policy more than ideology does. This is why different parties in power often end up making surprisingly similar decisions. The system rewards continuity. Radical change is expensive, unpredictable, and often punished by markets, media backlash, or political isolation. Power here works by narrowing the range of acceptable choices. Media plays a critical role in making this system function smoothly. Many people believe media exists to inform the public, and ideally that is true. But modern media is also a business. It survives on attention, advertising, and engagement. This creates a powerful incentive to prioritize speed, emotion, and simplicity over depth and nuance. Complex truths do not travel as fast as clear villains and heroes. Over time, this shapes how stories are told. What gets covered is often as important as how it is covered. When media outlets focus repeatedly on certain topics, those topics begin to feel more important than others regardless of their real impact. This is called agenda setting, and it is one of the strongest tools of power. Media does not tell you what to think, but it is very good at telling you what to think about. Ownership also matters. A small number of corporations own a large share of global media. This does not mean every story is controlled from a single room, but it does mean there are shared interests. Coverage that threatens advertisers or parent companies tends to be softer, shorter, or framed differently. Even journalists with integrity operate under deadlines, editorial pressure, and audience metrics. Over time, self-censorship becomes normal not because someone orders it, but because people learn what works and what is not. Social media has intensified this effect. Algorithms reward content that keeps users engaged, often by triggering fear, anger, or outrage. This creates echo chambers where people are exposed to information that confirms what they already believe. Power here works by fragmentation. When society is divided and distracted, coordinated resistance becomes harder. Corporations are often seen as separate from governments and media, but in reality, they are deeply connected to both. Large corporations have resources that rival those of states. They employ armies of lawyers, lobbyists, and public relations experts. Their influence is not limited to policy. It extends into culture, education, and even identity. Advertising does not just sell products. It sells lifestyles, values, and aspirations. From a young age, people are taught to associate success with consumption. This keeps economic systems running smoothly. Corporations also influence labor. Job security, wages, and working conditions affect how much risk people can afford to take. When survival depends on steady income, challenging the system becomes dangerous. This creates a quiet form of control. People comply not because they agree, but because they cannot afford not to. Technology companies add another layer. They control platforms where communication happens. Decisions about algorithms, moderation, and visibility shape public discourse. These decisions are often framed as technical, but they are deeply political. When a platform changes how content is promoted, it can shift public opinion at scale. Corporations argue that they are neutral, but neutrality itself is a choice. By prioritizing growth and engagement, they indirectly shape what ideas spread and which ones fade away. Power here works through dependency. When daily life relies on corporate systems, resisting them feels unrealistic. So how does this system sustain itself without constant force? The answer lies in psychology and normalization. Power is most effective when people internalize it, when rules feel natural, alternatives seem unrealistic. Education systems often focus on obedience, competition, and standardized success. Critical thinking is encouraged in theory, but discouraged in practice when it challenges authority. Over time, people learn to adapt rather than question. This does not require conspiracy. It requires repetition. When the same narratives are reinforced through news, entertainment, and social norms, they become common sense. The idea that the economy must always grow, that inequality is inevitable, or that there is no alternative to the current system becomes deeply rooted. This is sometimes called manufactured consent. Not because people are forced to agree, but because disagreement feels pointless. Yet power is not absolute. It relies on participation. History shows that when enough people become aware of how systems operate, change becomes possible. Transparency, independent media, strong institutions, and informed citizens can push back against concentrated power. The challenge is that awareness itself is contested. In a world flooded with information, clarity becomes rare. Understanding how power really works does not mean rejecting all institutions. It means seeing them clearly with their incentives, limits, and contradictions. Only then can society move from passive acceptance to active participation. Power does not disappear when exposed, but it becomes negotiable. And that is where real change begins.